And the first thing on the agenda is going to be the minutes of the last meeting we had. Gentlemen, do you have a chance to read them?
Yes. Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the last meeting. And that would take us up to you, Tony.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna pass around the minutes. Here you go. Thank you, Tim. That was my bad. When isn't it? Okay. Let me get my proverbial act together here. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. I need a bigger workspace.
You need a bigger desk, don't you?
We can almost move you down. one
Okay,
night
the
and
first
move everything.
thing
You have to
we
move
have
around, right?
are the Allied Insurance weekly claims. And it is medical. $23,584.22, $23,584.22.
All medical?
Yep. There it is. Just keep that down at the end for me.
Can't even take it. Hold on to it.
Steve's good about keeping track of those for me ever since I lost some of the papers.
How about
You
lost
lost
that?
something else.
Misplaced them.
You lost something else.
I did.
Okay, Stan.
Did I make a motion on that yet?
Not yet.
I'm just rushing it.
Yeah, we'll give Steve a chance to look at it.
Excuse me. There you go. Right, right. If you want to pass these down, get both sides. 1, 2, 3.
You need a motion to accept that?
Okay, yeah, I need a motion to accept the Allied medical claim for $23,584.22.
So moved.
Second. Motion's made and seconded to go ahead and approve that claim.
Next, we have a claim from Elaine Shapley, which I'm sure these guys remember who Elaine is, what she does, and so forth, but if not, Mark or myself can explain it. You guys know Elaine, right?
She's our insurance consultant, is that correct?
Yep.
Monthly, yes.
Plan management services
that's what
for
this is.
employee benefit plan.
$2,916.67, 2916.67.
Is that a one-year contract or?
Yeah, it's annual.
Okay, you look that over, then I'll need a motion to accept that claim.
So moved.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion. Okay, motion's been made and seconded to go ahead and approve Elaine Shapley's claim for $2,916.67.
And I had passed around to you guys just now the quarterly comp time report. That would be from January through March. Obviously, out to the right, it lists the comp time that each of those folks has. I think at some point, the commissioners began requesting that, didn't they?
Yes, uh-huh.
So there you go.
That'll probably go back. Do you have copies of those for us to keep, Tony?
Yeah, that's yours to
yours.
keep. Of the comp time?
Copy here?
I just passed them down.
Okay, 'cause there's just one
Yeah,
copy,
that's,
right?
you each got a copy of it.
Oh, we each got a copy.
Yeah.
All right, 'cause I
Only got one copy.
yeah.
I could have swore we passed out one. That's okay. Thanks for another.
Okay, so are those?
I have 3 more if you need it. You know what I'm wondering?
Yeah, I was looking at one side of one and one side of
Unless
the
it's a 2-page thing.
other. Okay.
I got 2 pages here.
I didn't see that you printed on
Well,
both
one of
sides.
them was
Yeah,
yours,
it's
and one
both
of them was
sides.
Stan's.
Yeah, it's both
Gotcha.
sides. I have more copies here if it's not complete. If
Oh,
it's completed on 2
You
pages.
need 2 pages.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just pass these down to you. You guys can keep.
Well, but both, yeah.
Yeah, you need 2 pages.
All right.
If that's redundant, then that's okay. You can use it for wallpaper. Do with it what you will.
Don't tempt me.
Especially lately.
The way things are going lately, yeah. Yeah, any questions, gentlemen?
What are the three columns?
If I just gave you all my copies.
No, but I mean, there's no titles.
Want me to make one?
I don't need
No.
it, I don't need another copy, I'm
Well,
just asking what
It's,
the column.
It's-
the last column is the
The
first
comp time
quarter
they
of
have now.
21.
The other two columns are previous quarters. It's the last three quarters, except the last quarter of last year wasn't done. So
Okay, so this is the,
that's for the 2 quarters that we had previous to the last quarter. The last quarter is at the far
so
right.
what is the last column?
The
March
current comp
31st,
time.
2021.
Yeah,
Current,
Yeah.
that's current,
That's the
yes,
current.
that's the current one.
okay. And what's the second column? Third quarter?
2 quarters ago.
9/30/20.
I mean, we had more on there, but it was difficult to print with that many on there. It wasn't printing right, so I just went to the last 3 times.
And then the first column,
12/31/19.
2 years ago.
okay.
I could probably try to email you that, and you can have the whole thing on email anyway, and I might have already done that.
Mine's got the headings.
I don't know what yours does, and that might have been the original copy. If he wants to see that, you can pass that down. That has the, I don't know why it didn't print that on the other one.
I mean, I got, yeah.
Like I said, we were having trouble printing it because it was in Excel. And
Which one you
Oh.
got?
Yeah. Now I've got,
Turn it over.
must have cut off on the other one or something.
well, that's all I needed to know,
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm
fine.
good, I'm good.
Yeah, okay, I see where they got it, yeah. Okay. Yeah, any other questions on it?
Good way to get my steps in.
If you don't, I'll need a motion to enter it into the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion is made and second to enter the comp time report into the minutes. Tony?
Alrighty. Next, we have utility payments that were paid online. Some were paid on the 6th, some on the 15th. And that's what I just handed you. And the amount that you would be approving is $37,287.09. $37,287.09.
Okay, I need a motion on that.
So moved.
Those claims. So moved. Stan, you second?
Okay,
Second, yeah.
Okay, motion's made, second, we'll go ahead and approve the claims for utilities.
I must have killed a few trees for all this stuff.
That's yours. Oh, you each got it, all right.
Okay, I just passed out the Weights and Measures Monthly Report. There were, looks like 68 total with 4 rejected, which I'm assuming that he would tell them how to correct it and get going on that. But that is the latest.
I wonder if he's gone through all his classes, he must have been.
He is, yeah, he passed the first test, he's under training right now.
Gotcha.
Who's out there with him with training?
It'd be a gentleman from the state. You have to have a trainer from the state to do it. I mean, he went out with Larry, to
Right.
begin with. And I think I gave him the needed experience he had, so he went, took the test, passed it. And now he's under training with a certified, state inspector.
Very good. You need a motion on that?
I need a motion to enter the report, and I think what we need to do is, maybe talk with Dan and find out the plan on correcting the rejected scales. So we'll just have to, I'll talk to him about that. But I need a motion to go ahead and enter the report into the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's made, second to enter the Weights and Measures report.
Okay. Next, I I've got Christie in here in case you have questions on this. The tech committee approved this purchase for the auditor's office. Actually, I have two things that the tech committee asked. This is the first one.
Okay.
Christie, can you explain what this does?
This is the
For-
doc record, this is for the.
Yes, this is a doc record thing.
Okay,
And it just, I actually would need either you or Stan one to sign that,
okay,
according to Mike.
right, right.
Hey, Christie, what's that thing do?
Basically, it's for the computer at the front counter where the taxpayers, like, they will file a deduction. So we have all the deductions, like in an Excel file, and then we would type in the parcel number and it populates like the title, the property, the legal description, address, and then we would have them sign on a keypad, and then we would save it. Right now, the keypad does not work because the computer that we currently have is very old. It's basically on its last leg. And then whenever we save it, then it goes right into, we can send it right to doc records where we store all the deductions, so all our deductions are in place. So right now, basically, the computer is very old that we have. So
It's a Windows 7,
Right,
which Mike would tell you he doesn't want Windows 7 anywhere around here because it's a security issue and they don't even support that
it's not
anymore.
supported, yeah.
So this is a needed, I think this has been needed for probably a year and a half or more.
Correct.
So, once one of you guys, if this gets approved here, like it did in the tech committee, if one of you could sign that, I'll have Christie take it back up. And, Bree can scan it and send it to, what's his name? Chad. And we'll be good to get going on it.
Where's the
Yeah.
money coming from?
We have that in the budget, in our budget.
The amount of the invoice is $7,930, and I think the ongoing maintenance is what,
340, that's already what they charge for maintenance for the stuff that Perry Protect does for us, so.
Okay, so gentlemen, I would, Stan's familiar with it, Steve, you haven't been, because you, not being.
Yeah, when we talked about it on the tech committee, it was definitely something needed, it needed to be updated because like you said, your computer's old. It needed to be updated because it's something your customers use all the time and it's more efficient and more accurate and,
We use it daily.
yeah. So, in my mind and on the committee's mind, it was by consensus, everyone agreed that this was necessary. So,
Yeah, so I need a motion to go ahead and accept this, and then for me to sign it.
Yeah.
I would make that motion.
$7,930, you make that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion is made and second, that we go ahead and approve this purchase.
Christie, would you mind taking that up and having Bree scan and email it to Chad? Thank you. Then you can just give it to Andy and she'll record it in our records. Thank you, Christie, I appreciate you.
I think one of the advantages to this process, to having the tech committee look at it, was to make sure, not only it fits in with our technology program, but, as far as commissioners, we can look and see that it's an appropriate and necessary. But as far as the tech committee, the tech committee sits and looks to make sure it integrates well and it is the right thing, right fit for what we have.
Okay.
Tony?
And that's a good segue into my next topic, which is the Xsoft tax system proposal. Ed, if you and Ed, the two Eds, would like to come up real quick. You have your copy of that, don't you? This is, again, I don't know if we were the first to do it or one of the first to act on the policy regarding software and IT going through the tech committee. But we, meaning Ed and I, wanted to do this the correct way. And we brought it to the tech committee. We met with them a couple times. And this is software that we have needed for quite some time because frankly, MVP, I don't even know if it's still MVP, to be honest with you. It's had like 5 or 6 buyouts and name changes, and it's just impossible to get support. And every time that they download things, everybody that's in tax has to get out for a day or two. And then Ethan has to go up and completely restart the computers that were, I mean, it's a mess. So we had taken a couple of different proposals to the tech committee. And the consensus of the tech committee was to go with Exsoft tax system proposal. One of the questions that we will have to answer, or that commissioners can answer, and Ed Carter, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically if we pay it up front, the entire amount up front, we're gonna save about 20 grand. And if we break it out into 5-year payments, there's no interest on that. Ed, do you want to explain that 10% off of the licensing fee and so forth?
Everybody, this is Ed Kerman, he's from.
Hi, Ed.
Ed and Ed.
And from Seymour, Indiana, I might add.
We're not gonna hold that against you.
I can understand why. But anyway, no, we're offering you guys 2 options. You know, I gotta be honest. I've been with this company 7 years. And I talked to Tony, he asked me if we pay it up front, what will we do? Normally, I'll be honest with you, probably the majority of counties, and we have the TAMA system here in the state.
Yep, I have it.
They want to spread it out over 5 years so they can do that. And I went to Brian, and I asked Brian, what will you do if they want to do it one lump sum payment? And he's given 10% off the software, which amounts to, I think it's $19,500. And so you have 2 options.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have the money available, you know what I mean, when it's time, or you can spread it out, but we never charge interest. Whatever the amount of the software contract is, it's divided by 5 and spread over 5 years.
What was the total on that, Ed?
If it's a lump sum, it's 204,000 even, and if spread over 5 years, it's 223,500, spread over 5 years.
And then you have the maintenance
The
cost,
maintenance is every year 36,600.
33,600.
36,000.
$36,600,
$36,600.
yes.
Yeah.
Each year for maintenance.
Okay, so with the
Well-
discount, it's $204,000.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll let you know that, especially Steve, we did our due diligence times 3, I think. Exxon is our chosen choice, but there's another system called LOW, L-O-W, but that's their last name, they pronounce it LOW, that we looked at very, very closely, and there's another one called GUTS, Government Utility Tax Software or something. Exsoft far and away came out on top in different things. One of them was the SQL server that they use for a back end. That was Panama with Mike Brown in the tech committee. Lau uses a bit of the antiquated system that Grandpa Lau started up in World War II, brought it home with him. It works, but they're the only ones that use it. They're the only ones that know about it. And if we would ever have trouble down the road, that would be trouble. And then GUTS, they do everything up in the cloud. And Mike Brown is just not happy with that. So we did not even demo that. But we had a couple different demos, and we looked at it closely. We discussed it to no end. And today we need to move on to the next step with you folks.
I guess part of the reason, if you want to talk about why do we need it and why is the new software going to be better for the county?
Okay, the MVP system that we have now, Rex used it back when he was treasurer. The treasurer before that, which was Ed,
Yeah,
right?
Jim
Hill.
Jim Hill
He used
implemented it.
as well. It was state of the art 20 years ago. The whole state used it. It has not changed, but very little in 20 years. And every time they sell it off, the support goes down. They move people around, the new company maybe transfer somebody might leave the company, and there's less and less contact people that we can work with. And Tony was not exaggerating. We had people, and all three of our people, plus the seasonal person, was offline for 2 full days for one of the latest backups.
So it's not supported well anymore.
5 people in the auditor's office were off for 2 full days. And you know, if you don't have your computer, there's some other stuff you can do, but this is our bread and butter, is bringing the taxes in. And we cannot do it without that program. But it's 20 years old, and nobody in here is using a computer program that's 20 years old. You know, you just gotta update it from time to time, and we're just not getting the support. It's just half of the state has moved away from them, and we need to do so.
The only thing I'll tell you, one thing I like about our company is we work well with, if you have an IT department. There's counties that don't have. But what we do at night, these updates he talks about, we work with your IT department, we dial onto your system at night. And we do all the uploads at night.
Okay.
So that there's no interruption during the day. And important things like settlement stuff, Tony lets us know when he wants to do it. We'll run that for him, and it'll run at night. He'll come in the next morning and that settlement report will be done. That's all included with your support, plus state updates. Now, we're new to the tax side. We've only been going 2 years. It's a good time for somebody, for county to come in, because if there's certain things you want, we'll write it in the next release. So we're open. I know a big project, at least on the other side of the state, is drains. So we're actually making a special drain program. Basically, it's for northern Indiana. We don't have drains in southern Indiana, we have ditches, and those are few. But anyway, we're writing it in because there's a Kankakee River Basin one that's 7 counties over there, 8 counties, and we're writing special things in for them right now. But
As far as ditch assessments?
yes. And like I said, up north here, it's different. Southern Indiana, you have oil wells and coal mines.
Oh, yeah,
So they have special things down there for them.
sure.
Another good thing is Ryan, who provides support and so forth, lives 20 minutes away from here.
Yeah.
So
He's head of the project.
that's a plus too.
Right.
So I guess we're looking for 2 things. First, for the commissioners to approve what the tech committee approved, that we go with Xsoft. And then the other decision is going to be whether to save the 10% cost, which is 20 grand or so, and pay it all up front, or break it out into the 5 years, which would be the 223 with no interest on those 5
Is that more of a council decision or is that ours?
Well, we're
I
going
know
to
it
make a
depends on where,
decision.
Depends on where we take it out of.
Yeah. And I think that what I'd like to clarify is that
And what's the yearly
the
maintenance?
tech committee actually had a consensus.
36.6, and what
We
does
didn't
that?
really approve.
A
it.
consensus, yeah. It
Cons-
was a consensus.
Yeah,
Any updates?
we had a
Every year the
consensus on that.
legislature.
So all the updates come through weekly, monthly, whatever, that all includes that?
That includes all of it.
The
Unless
other
they-
maintenance fee from the other company, Steve, was 51,000 something.
Right, I was just trying to figure
So
out.
it's a lot, if we have questions, if something goes wrong, it covers that kind of stuff.
If he has a bunch of new employees coming in,
Yeah,
we'll send somebody down
Right.
to training. We do not bill for this.
yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot, what some companies charge for, it's included in our support.
Yeah.
The annual support fee.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get out.
in our due diligence of checking everything out, not only did Xsoft check off all the boxes of what we were looking for, operationally, working with the day-to-day, through all the different
And the first engineering firm is Butler, Fairman and Seifert of Indianapolis.
Are you familiar with them?
I am familiar with them. Also, we have SJCA engineers. That's SJCA out of Indianapolis. And this is USI Consultants out of Indianapolis.
all the business for the day.
All right,
Very good, thanks, Tim.
so you're not coming back next week then?
My career here.
Thank you, sir.
You are welcome.
Appreciate all your time and effort that you've given to the county, definitely.
Like I say, it has been a good move 28 and a half years ago.
Yeah, well, good. It's
Yeah,
been a
thanks
good,
a lot. Thank you.
You're
good
welcome.
for us, for sure, so.
I will get these to you. This particular sheet, I will go ahead and the names. of the
My
engineering
extension
firms,
number is
names in
1211.
there, so
Okay.
They'll answer it probably.
fill in as many much as I can, and get that information to each of you yet this week.
Okay, sounds good, Tim, thank you.
Thank you.
Brad?
I think employees typically bring treats on their last day.
I need an ordinance number.
Maybe not, though, I'm just,
I'll look that up in the statute.
It's not in the employee's handbook, is it?
I know a good pizza place.
That's true.
The call.
Are you throwing it? Throwing a party, are
We have the facility.
he just heard the word pizza.
All right, good morning, everyone.
you? Good morning.
Received our MVH and LRS draw. And if you notice, it's a little different format this time.
It sure is.
This is Brad's format that he figured out how to do.
That was a resolution that we did for the health department. One?
For the first one.
Haven't done one for council either, huh?
I thought Julie redid one for council.
Is
Maybe
this
it was
your
a
special
resolution.
Could be.
Excel program?
It was a special, this is what I found, and I was.
Yeah, that was
able to
9,
change
right?
the numbers over. As you're aware, you know, both.
This is for the
take care of the office right now,
ARP money.
and so this is what I came up with.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, bye.
So for April, MVH, the total draw was $284,427.89. 284,427.89.
I think it's 2. I think we did have one of them.
So
Okay.
from,
Angie records them.
last year's April, it's down $9,089.46. And then year-to-date, the running total, we're down $19,457.16. The LRS, local road and street draw for April was $38,105.81. $38,105.81, which is down from last April, $842.77. The year-to-date running total, we are down $2,621.41.
Right, can I make a copy of that for me as well? Unless you have an extra one.
Oh, yeah, I got extras.
Thank you.
Mark, you don't want to do.
I just need mine for the minutes.
And that's down at this point last year where we are.
Yep.
Okay, so we haven't really seen any huge decline yet due to
No.
COVID, I don't think.
No.
Do you think we will? See,
I think we'll see some.
Possibly. Last year, I don't think it hit till, was it May or June, is when we noticed it. So it actually takes a couple months to actually see it.
Yeah, depends on how many people are gonna be out driving, and the gas prices too,
Yeah.
how much gas is gonna be.
so do you think we have to make any adjustments with that?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're actually, we're set pretty good right now. We are.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, need a motion to go ahead and enter this report into the minutes, if it's okay.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made second to go ahead and enter the report into the minutes, Tony.
Okay, the next thing I have is I have a permit to install utility facilities in our right-of-way, Adams County's right-of-way.
Good grief.
And it's Craigville Telephone. It is on County Road 300 North between 500 West and 400 West. and they would like to install fiber optic cable for residents along there and install a remote to give residents faster speeds. So it is, I mean, they're basically running that whole mile, and we have met with them out there and meeting with them. We actually got them to move to the other side of the road. The north side of the road, we don't have any tiles in the side ditch as far as we know or anything like that. There's no telephone poles, so they can get right to the back of the right of way and run down through there with it, which will help keep them out of conflict with us in the future.
Okay.
So yes, we did meet with them. We got them to move sides of the road. They gave us new prints on it. So it was very good. I mean, I was really happy they worked well with us.
Okay, so your recommendation is to go ahead with that.
Yep.
Okay? Any motion?
So move.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. We go ahead and approve that.
And then, while that's going around, just to give you just a couple updates.
You just want one copy of that, right?
Yes. We have sold, as of this morning, we've sold 600 plates, 600 buggy plates so far. And so we have quite a few to go. But it's working out, we're getting it done.
I think we had, what, about 22 to 2,300
Yeah,
last
about
year?
2,300 normally,
Yeah,
so,
okay, yeah, so you got a ways to go.
yep.
And when's the deadline on that?
May 14th. So just a little under a month. And May 14th is also the deadline for dust control. So, all right, last week I came and asked, we have an employee out that we had 26 weeks extended leave, or however that's worded, that we talked about, and I said I would come back this week. And to ask again for another 26 weeks. His date is May 9th, ends the first 26 weeks. And right now, the last we talked to him, he's hoping, hopefully, if things go well, he just started more treatments to be back in July, the end of July or beginning of August. So at this point, I'd like to ask for another 26 weeks of extended leave.
That's for this individual, right?
Yeah, just this one individual, yes.
Okay.
Is that a problem, Mark?
Let me check here real quick.
You want me to come back to that?
Yeah, that's fine.
So a couple other things now, being this time of year. Our intent is we would like to start 10-hour days, our 4 10-hour work days, May 17th. And we kind of picked that date because plates will be done at that time. And so then, won't conflict with that. And hopefully the weather's getting fit that we start getting out and actually doing more of the work that needs done on the roads.
Do you have all the guys on the same schedule when you do that?
Yes.
So on Fridays, what do you do? Do you have somebody in the office or somebody available for
We're always on call.
always on call? Okay.
Yeah, my number, the assistant's number, and we have, down the line that we can call if we need to.
So if there's a stop sign down or
Oh, yeah.
something, you guys are
Yeah,
always,
they know to call us and
yeah.
we will get out.
Or a tree across the road or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of basically just like if a storm comes through and that kind of thing, we're always on call.
Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't affect the operations any
Nope,
as far as emergencies or
nope.
anything like that?
And their phone does go to answering.
We do,
They have an
yeah,
answering
we have an
machine
answering machine.
on the phone if somebody that wants to leave a message.
Okay. We need a motion on that? Or is that just for information?
Just information.
It's just for information.
Gotcha, yeah.
And then now the next thing would be also, the previous years we have hired 2 part-time or summer help to do flagging and, weed whacking, anything that can be done that helps our guys out, but definitely for flagging. That way we don't have to pull two of our guys from driving trucks or doing other stuff to flag. So I'd like permission to start advertising to hire
You got
and
that,
hopefully have them start by the end of May.
you got that in your budget anyway.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
budgeted in.
Motion?
And move.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Brad, to go ahead with that?
So that is all I have other than the extended leave.
So they've exhausted all sick days, all paid days are
Yeah,
exhausted,
he did that before
vacation.
he started the 26 weeks.
So he's on FMLA.
Yes.
That's been exhausted.
Yes.
Okay, so the 26 weeks, so it says in case of long-term illness, a request for extended sick leave must be submitted to the Adams County Commissioners for consideration under this policy and under the FMLA. If the leave is granted, the county may continue to pay the county portion of the employee's current health insurance coverage up to 26 weeks, beginning with the first day off in those instances where it affects the employee. Employees responsible to pay the employee portion of all benefits regularly withheld from their pay during the period of unpaid leave. So if you grant it, the individual's still off, anticipated to still be off, so you grant the extended sick leave, and then the county will continue the health coverage up to 26 weeks from the first day off. So it sounds like,
Done 26 weeks, and May 9th would start that second period of 26 weeks. I'm just, the leaves of absence without pay, is that the section you're looking at?
no long-term illness is what we're
Okay.
looking at.
Section 4.6. It's called a leave of absence without pay.
What page is that?
25. Actually, it's closer to 6 months.
Brad, the second thing they approved, can you email me the information on that so I can put it in the minutes? Because I missed most of that because I was typing other stuff.
Which one was it?
The one after the monthly draw. They approved something, made a motion on something, and I missed
Oh,
that.
hire, part-time.
Oh, the
Yeah,
higher
I got that.
part-time, you got that.
There was something in
Start
between.
10-hour days.
That was information.
No, the thing before that, when there's some sort of repair or the
Oh,
lines, the
cable,
fiber
yeah.
optic and
Oh,
all
Yes,
that.
that's a
yes,
variance.
Yeah,
of that,
yeah.
If you could just email me just brief information on it, that'd be great.
I'll just. Thank you.
Mark, did you see that last paragraph under 4.6?
Yeah, no, this is leave of absence without pay, so all this does is, this, you can grant a leave of absence without pay, and that allows you to hold the position so that they can return to work after the leave, but we don't continue the health coverage during that leave of absence without pay. In other words, that doesn't continue. The county will continue the health coverage one time for 26 weeks. Now, if you're asking for a leave of absence without pay for an additional however much time, up to 6 months, the commissioners can grant that, but the county doesn't continue health coverage during that period of time. They're eligible for COBRA, but they don't continue health coverage.
Yeah, he's already been paying his own health coverage, Joe, isn't it?
Well, he's been paying the employee portion. The
I thought
county,
he was paying-
I doubt that. If he's still within the 26 weeks, then the county continues to pay the employer portion during the 26. The employee does pay the employee portion during the 26, but after the 26 weeks, then they have to apply for COBRA. And that's right at the end of that paragraph on page, it's at the end of 4.6, says the county shall not continue health insurance or other benefits during an unpaid leave of absence. However, the employee may have certain rights for continuation of health coverage under COBRA at their expense. So the 26-week period is for the extended medical leave. And so normally, which is something that it's entirely up to the employer whether they provide something like that. So FMLA is 12 weeks. After 12 weeks, an employer can, and the county could say, after 12 weeks, it's COBRA. After 12 weeks, we're not going to continue health coverage, even on an extended leave. But the county does. They do provide an extended sick leave for up to 26 weeks. So it's an additional, what is that? It's an additional 14 weeks on top of what FMLA requires. But at the end of that 26, then that's a COBRA event.
Okay.
Now, you can, and you've asked for, when is the 26 going to end for him?
The 9th.
Of May 9th, okay. So today, you could say, or you're requesting an unpaid leave after the 9th, and that's under
Yes.
section 4.6. You're saying, I'm requesting an unpaid leave for him for up to 6 months, and hopefully it's not that long, and then he can come back and the position is still there. That's kind
of what it's for, isn't it?
it's to hold the position. Correct. But health coverage will end at the end of 26 weeks.
All right.
Would that give him enough time until the 9th to apply for COBRA?
Well, when that's a COBRA event, he'll get a COBRA
Oh, I
notice.
see.
And when you get a COBRA notice, you've got 60 days from the date that you get the notice to elect COBRA, and then it goes retroactive to the date that, that coverage ends. And then there's no gap in coverage.
Yeah.
What some
Just a
people,
different-
yeah, it's just it's COBRA, but what some people do is, especially if they think they're gonna be back, they may or may not elect COBRA. They may wait 30 days, they may wait 45 days,
Yeah,
they might,
Okay.
but they've got 60, and they can elect 60 days, and they'd have to pay the 2 months of COBRA. COBRA goes
Right.
back, it's retroactive, and it would pay.
Okay, but they should notify him, correct?
They will notify
They will
you.
notify him, okay.
Yeah, when coverage ends, then that's one of the things that Allied does, and we pay Allied to do COBRA administration. That coverage will end, and then he'll get a COBRA notice, and then it'll be up to him to decide whether or not he wants to take COBRA.
Okay.
Now, he can elect COBRA for up to 18 months.
I hope it's not that long.
yeah. Okay, so Brad is requesting 26 weeks of unpaid.
There's a 6
Well, I think you would say up to 6 months of
Up to 6
unpaid
months-
leave.
Up to 6 months of unpaid leave.
That's just to save his job, right? Or
Yeah.
to
That's to
save it over.
retain, yeah,
Hold that position.
retain his position, yeah.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded that we go ahead and approve that up to 26 weeks. of
I would
unpaid.
say just call it up to 6 months of
Up to
unpaid
6
leave.
months?
Yes,
Up to 6
because
months?
that's what the policy says. I don't want to use
Okay, up to
20,
6
even though
months
it's 26 weeks, it gets confusing when you start saying 26 weeks and it's unpaid leave 6 months, so let's
Okay.
leave it at that, I
then. All
think.
right, we got that there.
All right,
Anything else, Brad?
that's it.
Okay.
Don't forget
Thank
to
you.
email me that, that'd be great.
Okay.
Rick?
Thank you. Any sirens today yet? Rick?
I just have 2 things just to update you on. The air handler project over the Superior Court is complete as of last Friday. A couple of weeks ago, I came to you and asked you about a few exit signs and emergency lights.
Right.
They're starting to be installed as of yesterday. It's not complete yet. I believe the first floor, second floor is done. Third floor is amazing. All right. In here. They're lit up.
Were you able to get all the materials to do the installations? Okay,
We're just short this one because the exit and emergency light is together.
Okay.
Look up there on the wall.
That's all I have.
Okay, everything else is going good?
Parking situation is okay with the, shots and taxes and,
It's working
It's working.
okay.
I guess I'll say that.
as best as we can with what we have.
With taxes and shots.
Yeah.
and-
Personal property tax returns, payment of taxes, yeah. We're doing the best we can.
Got the snow blower back out.
Well, it's electric arms always.
Okay,
All right.
very good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay, Jeremy?
Morning.
Hello.
Hey, hi.
We recently, Jennifer Krugberg, moved to Arkansas to be with her family down there. Her husband moved, so we replaced her with another Jennifer, Jennifer Gilbert. We're glad she's here. She's here and underway. She worked at the hospital for about 8.5 years before coming to the prosecutor's office. She worked at other places prior to that. As you may know, or not may know, as you do know, your policy is that a person who is a new hire starts off with 0 days of vacation. I'm asking to award her 10 days of vacation. It's on the matrix, it says 2 to 6 years. I know that's not within county government, but it's hard to explain to somebody who's been working for 15 years outside of the home, for their new job, they start with nothing. So that's my appeal to you. I don't know whether there's a clear policy on this, parameters. So that's why I bring it to the three of you to ask for your input and guidance.
I think we have negotiated that on new hires. I think we've kind of set a precedent to negotiate
No,
additional
you've only done that on appointed hires.
on a point. Yeah, that's true.
You've only done that for appointed positions. Chief deputies are appointed positions, not across the board. And not that you shouldn't discuss it. I think it's a serious issue. It's difficult to recruit individuals that start with no vacation time. That's very tough.
This will be an appointed,
I don't know what the nomenclature is.
Not really appointed.
I don't know that, no, it's not like a office manager or chief deputy. Well, my chief deputy state paid, but
okay.
she's a legal secretary position in our office.
Yeah, so that
We
would,
would be the ones that go ahead and make us a point of discussion. And-
yeah, you need to discuss it.
So
And
the
it,
commission-
but this would be a countywide decision.
Right.
I mean, this would
right.
be, this would cut across the board for all classes of all employees. You've done that for a few appointed positions, like chief deputy positions, where the individual is appointed as a chief deputy, their employment at will at the discretion of the department head, and they can be let go at any time with no cause and no hearing. So,
Department head positions. like-
department head position.
Yeah.
So it's been department head positions or chief deputy positions. So you did something similar for Cleveland as a prosecutor's investigator, because that's an appointed position. And he came to the position with years and years of experience, and the only way you get those individuals is
Well, we did
by
that with
negotiating some sort of benefit package. And you've done the similar thing for IT, because you can't hire an IT director unless you provide some sort of benefit package. But you have not done that yet for just across the board for employees. But Jeremy raises a good point. You need to discuss it, because right now the policy is, they start off with the county with no vacation, and they don't get any vacation until they've got a whole year in. So to hire individuals that have years of experience, it's very difficult. You're talking now, the next thing you're going to talk about here today is hiring an HR director. Okay, how are you going to hire an HR director with 5 years of experience and tell them they start here with no vacation? I can tell you, you're not going to do it.
No.
So it's something you got to discuss. And the question is, we've talked about paid time off, getting a PTO policy in place so that as soon as individuals are hired, they begin to accrue vacation day one. That would solve this issue.
Right, right.
Now, if it gets trickier when you start to say, well, we're going to, for employees, we're going to award more vacation based upon years of experience at the time of hire. When you go down that path, and that gets to be pretty tricky. And I don't know how the, hospital handles that, how do employers handle that? I don't know. Private employers can do what they want. Okay, but you're a public employer, and so you have to develop policies that are consistent and as much as possible. So,
I wasn't aware that this is a new thing outside of appointed position, so I don't need an answer today. I mean, I think that it's pretty clear that whatever you decide will have a significant ripple effect. So, I don't mind coming back in a few weeks even, and revisiting this to give you guys some time to think about it, because I don't need an answer right now, and I know in my experience when I'm forced to make a quick decision, sometimes I don't want to make the best one, and so we can come back and discuss this a paid time off option. I know I've heard about that kind of thing going on, but I don't know whether you guys have surged ahead on that or not, but maybe this will dislodge some of those things and we can develop an idea.
We got some things going on right now that I think maybe we need to, when you
Yeah, and
said
this-
HR, we need to,
this highlights the need
yeah,
for
this highlights. Yeah,
for having a more serious discussion about that PTO policy.
right.
Because
Right.
when
I
you're
guess
talking about,
to draw on your experience as a skilled litigator, if another employee came to you and said, well, I didn't get 2 weeks when I started, how would you speak to that?
I think that's a tough question to answer, because in my office, everyone else has been there for so long. Like Lisa's been there for maybe 20 years.
Or say even another department. I mean, if you had
I certainly get it. Okay?
Yeah.
Because, you have somebody.
because that's what we will be answering.
Look, you're looking at, in this case, in any case, somebody comes to take a new job, they're grateful for the new job, they've got a family, they've been working outside, they've graduated from high school 15 years ago or whatever, they've had a couple of weeks of vacation, they've got a family vacation plan this coming summer, and you tell them you have no paid time off or nothing. Now, you could say, tough, you can take the week off, you just don't get paid. That's the one end of the extreme. Like I said, I
Yeah.
get.
Well, that's something
because-
we just need to further
Yeah,
discuss, yeah.
that's-
This is really the
Right,
arena to
right,
put you on the spot.
right. No, that's fine, but
And I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to, in my mind, I know that I'm going to have to justify this.
Well-
Either we need to change our policy or we need to set this as an exception
it's a
somehow.
slippery slope because,
Yeah.
when do you give somebody a week? When do you give somebody 2 weeks? Is it based on the type of experience they have? So those are all things I defer to you guys. I made no representations to her that she would get it.
Okay.
She was aware of the policy and said, I will try to get something for you. That's a commissioner decision, not a project.
Yeah, we'll put that under discussion.
Thank you, sirs.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Jeremy.
Yep, thank you.
But she is already hired.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you found somebody. Yeah.
Thank
good.
Okay, Wes and Dan, you're up.
Gentlemen, this is a somewhat different group than the last time I appeared before you. At least people are in different seats than what they were the last time.
Hey, thanks, Wes.
And can I take this off?
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely.
Okay.
Governor
I wasn't sure since the note on the door says no admission without masks. Dan and I are here on behalf of the Ministerial Association, and we are coming on behalf of the Ministerial Association to ask your permission to again this year use the Peace Monument for the National Day of Prayer Service. And the flyer I handed out to you indicates this is the 70th year, and the President, Congress, the President have declared the first Thursday of May to be the National Day of Prayer for the last 70-some years. And we have used the Peace Monument for a number of years. We did not last year because of COVID. We just canceled everything altogether last year. So we're asking for your permission to over the noon hour on May the 6th. Which is a Thursday, which is the national day for the celebration or National Day of Prayer, to use the peace monument during that time. So
You have the same setup that you normally use? Do you need electricity or anything like
we
that?
would need electricity, but there is an outside plug, so it's simply a matter of having
Okay.
enough extension cord to reach out to the peace monument.
Okay, do you use our extension cords or do we supply those for you?
We have done both, I think, depending on how well the communication is gone. I know one year we failed to communicate that we needed the county's cords.
I ran home and brought it.
Well, Rick would have to be aware of it. That's,
Yeah,
you know, basically, yeah, I know, we've done this for
We
several
thought there
years.
was a plug on, I was new that year heading this up, and we thought there was a plug actually out on the peace monument, and there isn't. You have to run it out of the basement of the courthouse.
That's why I wondered how the Legion did that when they have Memorial Day.
Yeah,
They ran a cord?
there's an outside plug on the courthouse beside the door that goes into the basement there by the ramp that you can run an extension cord. So you don't need access to the basement, you simply need enough cord to reach the peace monument from there.
Sure.
So,
I'll make motion.
I'd second that, yeah.
Motion's been made a second to go ahead and approve your request.
I didn't give Dan a chance to say anything.
Well, you want to say something,
I've
Dan?
heard from him many times.
I was gonna say, that's the quietest I've ever heard Dan, yeah.
39th one of these, so.
And I would just issue a formal invitation to all of you. We will be praying for different individuals. We'll have different individuals leading short times of prayer. We're praying for the family, the church, the workplace, education, military, government, and arts, media, and entertainment. So we would certainly appreciate if any of you gentlemen are available to be there at that time, that we can pray for you specifically during that time.
Very good.
Thank you.
Appreciate your work. Thank you.
Well, it's an honor to have a facility for you to be able to do that.
It is a beautiful place to do it.
And we always contact the military.
Yeah, we will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you, gentlemen.
Very good.
Are you ready for the hard stuff?
I got something to pass out. Mark might have something besides the HR thing, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we got a
I
few
got,
things.
I'm gonna pass
I
out.
got the job description here.
Okay, I'm already here.
Yeah. Is that here?
Uh-oh. And unfortunately.
Hopefully he's got a copy coming for you.
I don't know when that's going to be discussed here soon. Probably after, maybe after what Mark already has.
I thought we were putting this on hold, Tony.
Yes, this one.
What?
I got.
Thought this one was one on hold.
No, you've been gone a week. A lot happened over this past week.
This is.
I suppose it happened out of Vegas too, but what happens in Vegas stays in
This
Vegas.
is, this is the coordinator. You got.
Yeah, that's the coordinator.
Mary and Taylor.
For Pete's sake.
Oh, sorry. Here's why. Aaron is resigning to go.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew that.
So we're gonna replace it with this.
But I thought we were
Yeah,
voting
okay.
on this because.
All right,
we were
love
voting
you, bye.
on HR.
Thought I had that thing turned off.
What that is.
Oh, I guess I wasn't. Oh, gotcha.
Did you have a lot of fun in Vegas?
Yeah.
Win anything? I'm gonna need that back.
Oh,
I just made that. I could probably actually make copies of that. Let me go make some copies of that.
So do I want a copy of any of that?
I don't know yet, Jim. It depends on what is decided.
Might be top secret, you never know.
Yeah. I do have a lot of top secret stuff going on today.
I have ways to write those stories.
You mean you have spies?
Usually the end, they wait for your dinner.
You have informants, don't you? Is that it? Is that yours?
Mm-hmm.
You already know this, but there you go. Effective May 17th, we hope. Would have been sooner if Bree's on vacation for a week and a half.
Yeah, thanks, Mark, for,
Yeah.
I guess, maybe hastening what needed to be done, right?
Yeah, it hastens the discussion.
This is our chance to do it.
Highlights it.
It'll be discussed.
It certainly did. It certainly did.
Have you got anywhere on that
But
time clock thing?
we're getting close to them being, we've sent them information, the information they need. It's just a matter of them getting back with us and then, Mark and myself have to discuss policies and so forth and so on. But if this is approved, then that person would come in and help with that because they've got the experience in that.
Right.
So,
Did you send me a new one? This is a coordinator's, did you
no,
send?
the coordinator is what was sent.
Is that the one that was sent?
Yep.
Okay,
Because
now we're gonna talk about director.
there are reasons that we don't necessarily need a manager director because then you gotta add other staff. Yeah. I wonder. Erin could explain that if she.
Is she coming down?
To the office and see if Erin's up there and see if she can come down for this discussion.
What's the number?
I don't know.
5303 is there.
1211. What?
That's just the outside extension. I don't know what the inside extension.
Oh, she's here.
She's already here.
Erin's here. Can we discuss that first thing? or not?
That's why you didn't answer your
So she
phone.
can go along?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
gentlemen. Sadly, for us, happily for Mark Murray.
Sorry, guys.
he doesn't know how much it's gonna cost him though.
The good news is, he owes us several favors now.
I like a few lobster, dinners, Mark.
At any rate,
I'm not as mad as I
Lobster
used to
rolls.
be.
I,
Get over a little bit.
I put in front of you, Erin's resignation letter. I think it's May 17th.
It was my last day.
And after I got done crying when she informed me of this, as the rest of the office did, Erin kind of, we have discussed, and Steve has been involved in some of these discussions as well, for a long time, about the need for some sort of human resources person. Because quite frankly, all the departments are all over the place with everything. There's a big need for this, and I'm sure Mark can probably talk to that more adeptly than I can, and so can Erin. Rex and I discussed this in the office this week, and we conferenced with the council president, and she seemed to be in agreement that this would be necessary. I think the discussion then goes to what exactly are we going to seek? Because there are differences between coordinator, director, manager, all these kinds of things. In my mind, I am thinking that if you hire a human resources manager between 60 and 70,000 or whatever, that won't be the end of it, because they would then need another staff member. So a whole nother person, in my opinion, would have to come in to help them. The coordinator, I feel, would be able to do what Erin did on steroids, so to speak. They will have the duties that they'll look at the laws, they'll look at all the kinds of things that need to be looked at so that we don't get lawsuits, which could happen at any time. For example, if departments send out postings for their own employees, oblivious to anybody else, they're just doing it. There are a lot of bad things that can happen. They could hire an employee that was here before that was not such a good employee because the departments don't talk. A human resources person would know this and warn them of it. They could ask the wrong questions that are not legal to ask and could be discriminatory. That wouldn't happen with an HR person. There are several reasons that this is necessary. I'm thinking the EX3 to the EX4 could be a price range, and you're looking at EX3, it's $47,540.70 when you enter that band. EX4 is $52,823. Now, Aaron has worked up a job description that I also passed out. I also passed out the wage ranges that I just mentioned. And she put education, degree required, that all those kinds of things. I also gave you a job posting that Aaron came up with. So what I would like is for Aaron, because she does it very well, to explain to the commissioners why the human resources coordinator is the way to go and what they would do and so forth, if you don't mind, Aaron.
That's fine. So when I presented my resignation to Tony, we wanted to get going right away on getting someone hired, so that I could get someone trained, so that I could move on. One of the things that I've been thinking about over the course of the last several months, and especially the last couple of weeks, is how can the county run better when it comes to HR and payroll? One of the things that I thought of is, how can we get an HR person into the county that's going to be the most effective and value added for the county? This was something I brought up to Tony, was possibly taking my position, splitting it up from because I do payroll and HR. Take the payroll end and move it to a staff member with the auditor's office who would be probably Bree at this time because she knows the financial end of the software and that type of thing. And then taking the rest of my position and making it fully HR. Doing what I do when it comes to new hires, orientation, the liaison between the county and all of our insurances, just the different things that I do on a daily basis, and then having that additional time that the payroll end would free up to do more, to extend more into the county when it comes to HR. We are missing so many opportunities as a county to do more training, if you will. There are many things that we can do better as a county when it comes to HR. More consistency when it comes to hiring. More consistency when it comes to disciplinary actions, terminations. All of this stuff, if you will, should run through an HR department so that we're doing things on a more consistent basis. If we have HR in here, someone with the education and the training, we could not reach out to Mark so much. You know, we should be able to do a lot of what we ask him in-house. They'll know the legal ends of it, all the state, federal, local laws. There's just a lot that we could benefit as a county. Even, I mentioned training. We bring on department heads and elected officials. A lot of them don't have any type of management training. All of a sudden, they're managing 6, 12 people or more, if you will. We could offer them more training, conflict resolution, just different aspects of what we're missing out on to make them a better department head, a better manager, and make our staff better. Following up with reviews and evaluations. Do our department heads know really how to give constructive feedback, how to make an employee better without being mean or feel like you're picking on me, that type of thing? There's just a lot of things, and I could go on. I have a list, actually. I think Rex
I
probably.
do, I got a
has
copy of
one,
it, yeah.
But this was just an idea of taking this position, splitting it up a little bit, and making the HR end of it a lot more thorough and a lot more effective.
Can I ask
for
you a
our-
question?
Of course.
Do you see this person continuing to work as part of the auditor's staff, or do you see them working independently?
In the job description that I came up with, I felt, and from what I've seen over the last almost 3 years, I feel that person should be a direct line to the commissioners.
That's the way it is in the counties that we've looked at.
Yeah.
So
and
do
he
you
has-
see it as a separate, because you've talked about it here a little bit as the HR department. So do you see it as creating a department?
That's how I see it. HR would stand on their own.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they would report directly to the commissioners. And just from what I've seen, also, is the commissioners would have to really support that HR person.
So this would become an appointed position.
It could. It's possible.
So by moving the payroll in to Bree, does that mean the auditors is gonna have to hire somebody else to help Bree out?
It depends, it depends on who we can bring in with this, and if,
Well, if you're just gonna bring in this person for HR, you wouldn't want them to be, you'd want them to take care of human resources. You wouldn't want them.
Right.
well,
They
that
would have
be.
to have a private office.
Right. That would be if you have an HR manager. I feel like even if they're not in the same office, everything's electronic, and the reason I said it would be like Aaron on steroids in that position is to avoid needing a whole other person. If that person could tackle just certain parts of that, Bree can handle
Just the payroll.
some of that on herself. I'm not familiar enough with it to know how much each would have to do and so forth. The object is not to have a whole nother position added, because if we're talking about that and you have a human resources manager and they have their own department with a person under them, that could potentially still leave us needing one person to help in the office as well. And then all of a sudden you got all these things going on. But if the person that is hired for this position that we have here can also do some of the payroll processing, the part that maybe Bree it's too much on her or something, I think that would be optimal.
Well, they couldn't do what I do and be able to do what we need them to do.
That's what I'm
There's no-
saying,
There's not
right.
enough time. But Bree and I have discussed this too, what Bree could take over when it comes to the payroll end. That would free up time for that HR person who's already going to be well-versed in HR. They have their education, they have all the legal end of it already in there, if you will. They just have to apply it to the county. So that would allow them to do what needs to happen. And they're gonna come in and they're gonna see right away kind of the things that really need to be more consistent.
See, two of the changes that we're looking at pretty seriously are time clocks and PTO.
Right.
Where would those duties fall? To Bree or to the HR?
So the time clock is part of payroll, okay? And that's another thing I mentioned to Tony was once we get time clocks put in place, payroll will be
Easier
so
to do.
easy,
Yes.
so much easier, so much less manual. It's literally going to be check click.
So that part would
So
be
that would
manageable
help
for
when it
Bree.
comes to payroll for Bree, yes, that would help her tremendously. Now, getting it in place is going to be challenging. Getting everyone on board, getting everyone doing the same thing, I mean, that's going to be challenging. But once it's in place and everyone realizes, okay, this is what we're going to do now, we might as well learn how to do it and accept it, then moving forward, I think it should free up that payroll end quite a bit. So that would help Bree. And maybe it'll come to a point too where maybe Bree, if that frees up some time, maybe, you know, she could take more of that payroll end up. Yeah, I don't
So-
know. That's gonna be something Tony.
So if we look at PTO, would that happen after the new HR position is decided and after the time clocks, or would that all happen concurrently?
PTO
So
would
it
have
was-
to be after the time clocks, because that was
Okay.
part of the concern in the time management, was that we right now have no way of managing PTO.
Gotcha.
We don't have a system. It would all be manual, and that would just not go over very well. We really need a system
Which,
in
that's the
place.
big part reason if we delayed that whole
Yes.
decision.
And now we're going to, once we have that timekeeping in place and that time management, literally PTO will be programmed into that software. We wouldn't even have to do anything. It'll already be done for us through that software. There's your tracking. I mean, it's gonna be so much easier.
So,
No employee service records anymore, no time cards or time sheets. It's all going to be in that software program. And that software program speaks to LAO, which is our payroll program. So you literally, it's just a touch of a button.
so on a
and you-
timeline basis, as we look for an HR person and also look towards the time clocks, those things could be done kind of independently of each other.
Well,
It-
it'd be nice to have that HR person in place to start going through policy,
I see.
doing all those things.
And then once those two things were done, you know,
Yeah.
then we could.
Revisit the PTO. And I think
Revisit
that's
the
kind of what's the
PTO.
game plan
Okay.
going forward.
Let's
yes.
keep in mind that Aaron and Mark have graciously agreed to help out until May 17th, and that's a little longer than most, you know, they're being good about helping us out. But time is of the essence to get job postings out there. And maybe Mark can answer as far as interviews, if this person will be reporting to the commissioners, is the 3 commissioners that do the interviews?
Yep.
And I think that process for the auditor's office needs to happen fairly quickly, because we want Aaron to still be here, hopefully, to be able to help them get started and help to figure out what Bree is going to have to do and all this. You know, we can't act like county government usually acts and go real slow.
So basically, Tony, you and Aaron think that the coordinator would be the best way to go at this point in time? Is that what your
I think so.
thought process is?
That's my thought process. I know, and we actually tried to call a couple of other counties that have HR to speak to their HR people, but we weren't able to speak with them before the commissioners meeting started to ask them some questions. Now, you know, if the commissioners approve this position, this job description and position and so forth, we would still have to go before council.
Right.
Which, as Stan would know, having been on council, it is possible to obtain a consensus prior to that meeting to be able to get started. If you get a consensus of what the council's thinking, to save some time, that saves at least a couple weeks, which we can talk to council about that. But we'd like to get people in front of you all that fit the posting and would fit the description as soon as possible. So,
Mark, have you had a chance to look at the
Yes. No, I think it's a very good description. The only thing you might consider would be in the very beginning where we may say, that they report directly to the Adams County Board of Commissioners. And if it would be an appointed position, then we would put that language in there, and it would say, Human Resources Director will be appointed by the Adams County Board of Commissioners and serve at the pleasure of the commissioners and things like that, so.
Of course, and that's definitely a
But
draft.
Right,
yeah,
right.
no, but I think it's a great description. I think it covers what you're looking for.
And the,
Well, an ad has already been placed in the paper, right?
well, the ad, the initial ad for a payroll deputy was sent out, and we were going to put a hold on it, but I got to them too late. So I don't think it hurts anything if we get applications or resumes based on that. We can still keep those and see what qualifications they have, and if they match this, then obviously we can, include them. I think I was in a rush to try and hurry to get to find somebody to get in there, because I know,
How long it takes.
and there's a lot of work there, and so that Erin can move on and not have to stay and babysit us any longer than she has to. So yeah, I sent that one did go out, but this would supersede that.
Right,
I
right.
think one of the things we need to think about too on the job posting, if you guys go ahead and say, yes, this is something that we would like to run with, the job posting should have the range, the salary range, because we don't want people applying for the position that are way out of what we're even thinking about. We know HR managers, directors can get up there in they have really big salaries. So we don't want people applying that once they see how much it's going to be a waste of time, if you will, if we don't
Right.
put that number up front and say, okay, this is the scale that we're thinking of, or the range depending on experience and education and so on.
And that's what, next question, where did you come up with the X3 to X4?
I did research on several sites regarding human resources coordinator and what pays they each get. And the average wage was the 47,000. That was the average. At the high end was 55,000. So depending on what we get as far as credentials and experience, as far as coordinator goes, this is right in range with what it is averaged out in the state.
And I think you would be better off with someone with at least 5 years of experience. Definitely that education.
So with somebody with 5 years' experience, you're gonna have them a little bit of a package deal, like we were discussing earlier.
Like Mark was
because
discussing with vacation and so
You
forth.
can't bring somebody here with 5 years and not have anything, because you're not gonna get nobody interested.
No.
And that would definitely have to be part of
Right.
what is discussed, and I would assume that after discussion today with the prosecutor's office, that Mark will be looking at that and coming back to you all with recommendations and so forth. So,
So Mark, you gotta change a little bit of language in this.
Yeah, we can.
if you indeed wanted to say appointed by the commissioners and so forth, that's an option. It's not the only option, but that is an option. Is there another option? I think there's another option, that you don't appoint them, but that you just,
Well, then who's hiring them? Is it gonna be hired by the auditor's office?
so we're
Are they
looking
gonna
at it
report to the auditor?
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That was
I-
discussed during
I
our
think
phone
that's-
conversation, but the ones that Aaron and I have looked up all said that they report to the commissioners.
I would say
Just makes
that,
more
I would
sense
agree with
to have
that.
direct line.
I think it,
Having another person in there, just,
So if that language needs to reflect that, then we just need to change that.
well, it becomes an inherent, to some extent, it becomes an inherent conflict if they're not appointed by the commissioners, because if they're hired by the auditor, and yet they're in charge of,
Yeah.
you know, discipline and everything for everybody in the auditor's office. That's not gonna go over well.
I think that's what Aaron and I were saying from the beginning, that it should be commissioners.
They need to be, they
If
need
they're
to
gonna be
report,
mad at somebody, might as well be the
Might as well
commissioners,
be,
right?
They
might
need
as well
to-
be Stan.
they need to report to the commissioners. And that gives the commissioners the ability to, you know, make changes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at the EX3 and EX4 descriptions. I wonder if they're gonna give us grief, because under EX4, it talks about supervises mid to high level employees, supervises employees with state, and this person would have no direct supervisory. So I almost,
We have individuals that it says they supervise and they're not, they don't supervise.
That's already taking place.
Well,
It
and
happens now.
and it may be unclassified.
Yeah,
It may
That's
be,
what I was
it may just be an unclassified
you know,
position.
if we end up having to negotiate with them, it would be better for us to have a non-classified.
And I was looking at just the pay wage being in those
Good
range.
idea.
During our phone conversation, Rex, Eric, were you in there?
No.
Okay. It was mentioned that non-categorized might be what they would decide to do, for the reasons that you said, Stan. I use those EXs just for the amount of what the wage is in that area. But I think non-categorized is what the council was saying, or the council
That
rep
could be a
was saying.
possibility, yeah. Yeah.
So if it's an appointed position, I don't know if we would have to stick with the other department head wage. I mean, because council has always tried to stay consistent as far as department heads go, which, trying to look and see what a department head.
Probably 49.50 a year.
Yeah.
So see.
So
It's,
Mark-
it would be in
Mark,
line.
you wanna take
47,
and,
52, so we're in
It
that
would-
ballpark.
Yeah, it would be right in line with it.
You want to get this advertised, you know,
So
as soon as
I would
possible.
rather make
If
it
we
an
would take
appointed position, non-categorized,
Mark,
instead of a department.
draft
head,
up
because a
another-
Department head would limit us.
with that additional language in it,
Yeah.
we table this till next Tuesday.
And I think the wage is appropriate.
And still, you can advertise till now.
I'm
If
just
we can
Can we
start
do that, Mark?
advertising, if Mark
Yeah.
can
Can
work
we
up
get
some
I'll
job.
get some in
Can
trouble.
we advertise it now?
Yeah, you can, I
And
can,
then we can draft up the actual job description and approve it next week?
Yeah. So,
Let's take and, go ahead, Tony can go ahead and advertise this position, if we agree to that. But we can go ahead and table this and let Mark go ahead and add that language into it concerning being, reporting to the commissioners and so on.
and
when's the next council meeting?
I'm
May
just
11th.
thinking,
We could,
I
if
would
we did it
rather,
next Tuesday, that'd be before the council, that way we can still
yeah,
get our.
I would
council-
rather see it as an appointed position, non-categorized. Because if we categorize them, we limit ourselves. If we make them a department head, we limit ourselves. But yet if it's an appointed position, then it would still follow the chain of command that we're looking for. And
fine with me.
non-categorized, we could negotiate the salary.
If
that's
Mark can
appropriate.
add the language into the job posting the way that it needs to read, we'll get that out today. We'll probably pass the deadline by then, but as soon as they could run that, then, they would be
So-
able to do so.
So you're gonna put something out different than what you gave us?
Well, we're gonna have Mark clean it up to state what you guys just said. I think.
Well,
Right, Mark?
the actual posting itself is just putting people on notice, you know, and, you know, in the job description itself would be more specific about, you know,
Okay.
who they report to and what that all means and things like
I
that.
So
guess
if that
what I-
posting looks okay, we'll get that out today.
We may make a few adjustments to that, but
Have you thought about putting that pay scale in there?
that's
Because
what
I
I'm,
think if you get, I mean, you'd be foolish not to, because you don't want to get.
Yeah, I think we
applicants that
should.
They're gonna come in and look at that and say,
I think the wages, the 47.5 to the 52.8 are in line with other department heads and everything else. And it's going to depend on the number of years' experience and all this kind of thing. So as soon as Mark tells us that the job posting is okay, we'll just get that out now and start getting things in to give you guys time to,
Well, our
figure all that
decision,
out.
our decision right now is to look at your recommendation for a human resources coordinator, or manager. Whatever your thoughts are on that. That's what they want to know now. If we want to create that new position and classify it as an HR coordinator, or do you want to go one step higher?
Well,
Right.
manager implies a supervisory duty. I think coordinator, is kind of where we want to be, I would think, right? Do you think, I mean,
That's a recommendation. So what is your thoughts on that?
I would go for the manager, is what I would go.
The monitor.
Quit upsetting Rex over here.
Yeah.
I mean,
My heart's talking to
I
me.
think the council's good for a manager, don't you? The way they talk.
if we created a human resources department, then I would make them the manager. If we created an appointed position, I would tend to call it a coordinator.
I guess I'm thinking if you,
It's splitting hairs right
May I
there.
say something? So the person that comes in is going to be doing what I do
right,
currently, minus the payroll end of it. Plus, when they have the time, starting to implement processes and doing different things, seeing opportunities for the county, and doing that when it comes to HR. So they're gonna be a benefit to the county by being able to do the HR stuff. But they're still gonna have to do what I do now. So you're talking about kind of a clerical end, plus the HR stuff for an HR manager, giving them 60 to 80,000 a year, doing what I do, plus a little more HR stuff. I don't know if that's really a lot value added. Now, if you bring an HR manager in, then they probably would need staff that's doing what I do. Just my opinion.
So
the
you're
cost would just
saying
be a lot more.
stay
So
away
you're
from the
saying stay with
manager?
the court.
I would say bring in an HR person to start out with as a coordinator and see what opportunities we have here as a county. I'm not an HR person. I do have background because of being a manager, but I was never in HR.
Yeah.
They may look and say, okay, here's my priority list. We need to do this, we need to do that. I just see these opportunities and start at the top. But to bring an HR manager right away, who's probably gonna need staff, I think baby steps in this case would be better than
The
nothing at
other,
all.
the other
or
thing
going overboard.
that we're gonna have to decide is where to put them, because like you have alluded to different times, an HR person should have, the right to expect privacy.
We've
Yes.
already talked to that. We already talked about that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we got that looking into. Good. Yeah. Yeah, so basically, Steve, what's your thoughts? Go with the coordinator?
Go with coordinator.
At least get started that
Get
way
started,
and see
yes.
how it plays out?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay, they need a motion to create that new position.
So move.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made, seconded, that we create a position of HR coordinator. Is that okay, Mark?
Well, I think it's subject to appropriation by county council.
Well, it's subject to appropriation,
Yeah.
yeah, by the county council.
But it would still fall under the auditor's budget. Or would it fall under commissioner's budget?
We can put it under our budget. I mean, as far as
if
that
they
goes.
report to the commissioners, I would assume
They
they
can
would
put
be
it
under
in
the
our
commissioner's budget, but
So that would
Don't
take
know.
it out of your budget then, so.
I think that's to be determined, but I
Yeah,
think
we can
we'll
determine.
figure that out. But I think we're talking about, updating the posting, and if we're gonna put a pay range in there, then we need to be clear what we're doing. I heard 47.5 to 52.8. That's a EX3 to EX4. Now, that's just saying that's a range, but it still could be a non-classified position, but that's giving you at least a range that if you were to put them on the scale now based upon, Aaron's research and the description that you have in front of you, that would certainly fall in that range. And I think that's where you advertise and then see what you get. See what sort of applicants you get. And you'll find out whether or not you have to do something more, whether you have to make them non-classified, whether you're in the ballpark of getting someone that will fill, the position the way you need it filled. So, this is new territory. You're not going to have all the answers today.
And as we do this and advertise, we are assuming that we would not have to replace your position in the auditor's office, right? So I mean, this would not be creating, it would be creating a new position, but yet,
The payroll deputy position would not need to
would
be
not need to
replaced,
be
yeah.
filled.
This, by splitting the job between Bree taking on the payroll and then this new HR
So we would not
position.
have an additional
Yeah.
employee.
Right, exactly, no additional
Right.
benefits, which I think this is a good opportunity to do it. If we can get
Sure.
more HR for the county and not,
I think the biggest thing the office will miss is that extra person to help at the counter, be there when others are at lunch, and that could, we'll be one person down for that, but as far, we'll just have to deal with that. The auditor's just gonna have to learn more.
I honestly, yeah, I was there to help with phones and things, but they could do it. I didn't help out a whole lot, so.
Yeah, I never saw you do
Yeah, I
much when
didn't
I
know
went.
hardly anything at all.
We're gonna have to edit that out of the recording. No, it doesn't matter, because her future employer's sitting right here. He could,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I know what she's capable of.
I'd be just a little scared.
Anything else, Tony, on this? You got it?
I
You got
think
the
we got what
motion
we
okay,
needed.
Mark? Okay?
I'm just going, Mark, I guess my question to you, for Aaron to be able to send this out now on that job posting, can you tell her what to add on that so she can get that done?
We'll do that today.
Okay. Then, yeah, we're good.
All right.
Okay, and then we'll look for the job description, and next Tuesday, we can approve that at that point in time.
Yeah, he'll change,
Okay,
add that pointed language that you wanted added.
sounds good. Anything else, Mark? You're on.
Yeah, we've got,
Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Thanks a lot, Aaron, appreciate it.
There's no doubt that you've been a great asset to me many times on council and here, and great asset to all our employees, that's for sure.
I'm just getting used to you.
I know.
Well, at least she won't be far away.
Yeah.
So if we have a question, we just have to give her a call.
she won't be far. She can answer questions anytime.
She won't answer her phone, but,
Yeah, she'll see it's us calling me. Who is the person to whom I am speaking?
How many, you got, I think we need one more, right? Steve don't have one. Need one more.
I guess I'll have to make my own copy.
Okay.
Do you have one more copy of that?
This yours?
I got another one.
You have only three?
Do each of us got one, right?
I had
Or you
four.
got two of them?
Does somebody have two? Because I don't have one.
I got one.
Stan, do you have one or two copies of that?
I have one.
What happened?
I don't know.
You wanna make another one?
Yeah, I gave one to Ed, so
Oh, Ed's
Oh,
got
that
it?
might be it.
Yeah,
that's where it went. All right, thank you.
Gotta watch that treasure.
my goodness. And we got him in charge of our finances.
Well, actually, it's a good thing if he's
He's
good at
got,
holding.
he's gonna be, yeah, he's gonna be banking it, right?
All right, so handed out to you, ordinance 2021-1. So this is an ordinance concerning the receipt of American Rescue Plan funds, which was passed into law recently. And so this ordinance then will create the account necessary to receive those funds when they become available. And it also spells out the purposes for which those funds can be used. It directs that the Adams County auditor keep accurate records of receipts and disbursements for those funds. And it basically is just creating the fund line item necessary to receive these funds then when they come out. So we can read clear through it. I'll let you guys read through it here. Handed it out to the press, so they've got a copy.
Writes it, ordinance is misspelled.
Oh, that's great. All right, so I'll reprint that. It helped her spell ordinance correctly.
Well, unless you're calling it ordinance.
Yeah. But anyway, it's ordinance 21-1, which is an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners, creating a new fund for the receipt of funding from the American Rescue Plan adopted by the Congress of the United States. Do you guys have any questions about this particular ordinance? So it just states resolved or be it ordained that a fund's been created in Adams County Auditor's Office entitled ARP Grant Fund, and the auditor has issued a fund number 8950 with respect to these funds. Funds shall be non-reverting and may not be transferred to any other Adams County fund. The purpose is for the exclusive use pursuant to the parameters set forth in Section 603 of the Act and guidance of the United States Treasury as follows. And then all the enumerated uses are set forth there in A, B, C, and D. Note down in D, it says to make necessary investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure as approved by the United States Treasury. I spoke to Julie Marie and asked her to keep a lookout for any guidance that we actually get, because there's not a whole lot of guidance as of yet on particularly how to use those funds for those particular purposes, but certainly that's of great interest. All expenditure of funds shall be approved by the Board of Commissioners with any and all claims to be paid from the fund. The Commissioners will establish the plan, conditions, and rules upon which the funds are to be requested and used. So that tells you right now that we've got some work to do to establish that plan. Funds should be brought before the Adams County Council for appropriation. Unused funds would be repaid to the United States Treasury when required. Auditor shall keep accurate and complete financial records for the receipt and expenditure of any and all funds deposited into and paid from this new fund. No money shall be deposited into any pension fund. And that's adopted by commissioners. And if you're ready to proceed with that, we need a motion to adopt this ordinance, and we'll sign it. And I'll print a new first page so that ordinance is spelled correctly.
Sorry.
Nope.
Yellow newspaper in me.
That's good. I'm glad you caught it.
What, Ed?
I just want to let you guys know before you make that there are several different private groups, entities that will do this for you for a fee. I don't think we need to do any of those. You guys are elected to do it, make those decisions, and with Mark and all of you together, you can do the same thing that these private groups do, but there are some counties that are using some of these private groups to, private companies to manage that money. They just want to cut it.
Of course they do.
Yeah, that, they pop up out of the woodwork.
Oh, yeah, they see an opportunity.
Let us help you with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I know a firm that would. Right?
Well. Okay.
Any questions, gentlemen?
So for example, we would, let's say if we decided to grant money out of this fund to a specific organization, then we would come before council to ask for that appropriation to make that grant.
Well, they would have to come to us based on the requirements that we would request them to provide us to see whether or not they would qualify.
The organization.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the
And
interaction
Then
with,
you take the next step.
then, so as far as the interaction with council, what I'm asking is it us that approaches council or that organization? Probably us if
Well,
we're
all
wanting to.
expenditures of the fund shall be approved by the Board of Commissioners like we normally do.
Okay,
And then the next one says here, the approved request for funds shall be brought before the Adams County Council for an appropriation.
so
Is
that's
that-
my question.
Is that like a,
Seems like everything else, the commissioner,
if we set the requirements for the request, let's just say we do it for a charitable organization, you know, there's certain guidelines that we were gonna request that they meet before they would qualify.
I think-
We could set those guidelines as commissioners.
Correct, but I think you would go to the county council at some point and have them appropriate funds into the certain categories that you have laid out. In other words, I think you would say, let's say, for example, you want to appropriate, let's say you come up with a plan to spend $1.5 million on broadband infrastructure, and you have a plan to do that. Then you'd have to go to the county council and they would have to agree to appropriate $1.5 million into your plan to expand broadband infrastructure. Now, once that's appropriated, the claims to pay that and to who the vendors and to however you decide to execute that plan is going to be done by the commissioners. You're done with the council.
Okay,
I think that's probably the way that would
is that
work.
the way you're, okay.
But I honestly, it's so new, never seen anything like this. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody knows at this point exactly
I guess I'm
how
wondering if,
it's to be used or how,
I mean, there's no way we can develop any kind of budget for this account, is there?
this is just the first step. This is just creating the fund to
the
receive.
thing
You got a
you're
lot of
doing
work
now
to
is
do
just
from here
approving
on.
this.
This
Because-
allows us to take the funds.
This
Yes,
is just,
We have to accept the funds. This allows us to do it.
yeah, you haven't figured out how to spend it yet.
Right.
I make a motion to
If this
accept
is-
the ordinance as presented with the correction.
Okay.
Motion's made second. Do we go ahead and approve ordinance number
2021
2021-1?
Yes, okay, then probably sign a couple of those and we'll get one back down here to Tony and, I'll send you, I'll email that ordinance to you, Tony, and then you can fix that. I'm having some trouble here with my,
You want all three of them signed?
sure, might as well.
Okay. And you're gonna change the top, whoops. Sorry, Tony.
as soon as you email myself or Aaron about the job posting, we'll get that out today as well too.
Okay.
So if we find somebody that's really good, you know, you just never know. Like Forrest Gump and his box of chocolates, you never know what you're gonna get.
All right, let me see.
I don't see here yet.
I'll forward this ordinance to you, Tony.
Okay.
Okay, we gotta change the first page on that. Okay, so we got three of them, Tony. You need to change the first page, right?
Thank you.
So now when that happens, at least we'll have a place to put it.
Yep. You gotta put a line item in there for that specifically. It's another fund.
And we spoke with SBOA regarding
Investing
that
it.
to make sure we were doing it correctly, and
Okay.
that is what they told us.
And then we can take, and Ed can invest that. And get 10% interest on it, right, Ed?
Okay, the next, thing, let's see. That's really about all I've got, except, looking at the PTO policy, just for your information, the one that's in draft form. Now, this has not been approved by the county council, but, I think we need to get that back on the front burner and get working on that. the accumulation factor in the draft that the council had, I think they were going to make some modifications to that to, because it, you know, the county, you begin right now under your current policy, individuals begin to accrue sick days immediately. So, but they accrue a 1/2 sick day per month. You also have funeral leave that's available immediately. And so those things, you have to kind of consider that together with vacation to come up with an accumulation factor, decide, okay, on hire, here's how your PTO is going to accumulate beginning day one. So we need to have some more discussions about this. I don't know if the best way is to get another committee together. I know we've got plenty of committees, but I think it would be helpful to get probably a couple of members of the council and at least and one commissioner and the auditor get together, and maybe even, you know, Erin before she's gone here, and talk about this.
Or if we can borrow her.
Well, you can borrow her even after she's at my place.
I think the last time we had a committee together, it was myself from council, Kim from commissioners, and then Aaron. And then as we sat and discussed this, at that point, it's like, well, if we're gonna be looking at an HR position, let's put this on hold. So, I mean, that was the committee at that time.
Yep, I think that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
I think the
I'm gonna head to the-
need for an HR person has been discussed for a long time. That was discussed back when we were on council. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it's been buzzing around for a while. And a lot of the reason that it probably wasn't done was because if you look at it as creating the whole department, you would have had that as a new person, a staff member as a new person, all this expense. The unfortunate reality that Erin is leaving our office has also created the possibility of getting an HR person without doing all that. Now, maybe that'll come later. We'll have to see how this works out. And if it works out really well, then it could be expanded. But I think this is a
Stepping stone.
stepping stone in a fairly inexpensive way to get what we've needed for a while. So,
Well, I think it's always been our goal to treat employees fairly and efficiently. So this will help towards that.
Okay. I don't think Mark had anything else, so.
I think he said he was done.
Rex, I did have one quick thing, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Tax bills were mailed out on April 9th. I imagine everybody there.
Yep.
In 6.5 days, as of this morning, we had $2,278,000 plus already brought in. So we're a couple $100,000 ahead of last.
And that probably doesn't even have, have the bank started doing it yet?
We got a little bit back from the banks, not much.
Okay. Yeah, now, is every bank participating now, or,
They
okay,
do it a little bit different. Bank of Bern had a branch in Van Wert, and they would let people do it there. And they've all just said Adams County only, which is fine. That doesn't matter. That works.
okay,
So any Adams County bank, it's not a savings and loan or anything like that, or like a credit union, it's just brick and mortar banks.
okay. All right, Mark, if you don't have anything, I guess we're ready for a motion.
Second.
Okay. Motion's made, second, we're adjourned.